Here we stand, having left medieval Europe behind, or have we? This video explores the often untold stories of everyday people throughout history. Today, we journey back to the year 1325, when Europe's winding lanes and drifting incense led thousands toward a single western star. Imagine yourself standing before the cathedral towers of La Puy-en-Velay at dawn. The air is cool. A faint aroma of damp stone mixes with wood smoke curling from nearby hearths. Bells toll, not urgently, but steadily inviting you to step beyond familiar streets and into the long, slow rhythm of pilgrimage. In this calm exploration, we will walk, unhurried, with an ordinary traveler, not a knight of shining reputation, nor a saint of gilded legend, but a threadbare soul intent on reaching Santiago de Compostela, 300 leagues away. Over the next 2 hours, we will drift through 4 gentle chapters. A quiet miracle at Hospital de Órbigo, the disappearing bones of St Amaro, Abbott's guest hall supper. First, we follow the road out of town, where the route forks around a moss-covered Delian or cross and leads across a shallow ford. On the far bank, a gaggle of geese honks greetings, momentarily drowning out the murmur of passing pilgrims. In the distance, the faint clink of hammer on steel. As you draw closer, the sounds resolve into the rhythmic ring of a blacksmith at work. "I travel to Santiago," you say, offering a smile. "Many do," the blacksmith replies without looking up, wiping his brow with a leather strap. "But few finish. Why do you go?" "For grace, to see the bones of St. James." The blacksmith snorts. "And what miracle do you seek there? Shiny armor and healing herbs? A staff of gold?" He pauses, holding up a horseshoe for inspection. This road is hard worn by those who seek the quick fix. But miracles come in simpler wrappings. Look closely. You take the proffered shoe. Its iron has been hammered thin, revealing a cross-shaped indentation from years of faithful handling. When you offer it back, the blacksmith shakes his head. "No charge today. Go with God's blessing, traveler." And so you pass on, pondering the blacksmith's cryptic words. What if grace is less about dazzling displays and more about humble acts? As you walk, your thoughts turn to the bone-jarring crossing of the River Orb. Every pilgrim dreads its swirling currents and slippery stones. The worst of winter lies past, but spring rains have swelled the flow and few bridges remain intact. At midday, you spot a lone figure standing waist-deep in the stream. Wading slowly, he begins ferrying horses across, and soon enough, he motions for you and other pilgrims to join the procession. Once all are safely landed, the ferryman sheathes his sword, wiping his brow with a checkered cloth. "Good afternoon," he says with a surprisingly youthful grin. "I am Sir Bertrand." He points to his tunic bearing the arms of Leon, a knight-errant, traveling in search of adventure. Another pilgrim laughs. "Indeed, so I heard you shouting at a donkey to hurry up just now." Sir Bertrand shrugs, smiling sheepishly. "All knights need not be fierce. We grow weary too. Though my deeds may seem small, I am ever vigilant." An older priest shakes his head. "Your sword speaks louder than any boast. Good, sir. I have seen much blood spilled in your name. I know, Father Bernard, Bertrand sighs, sheathing his blade again. But is there no peace to be found? Must we forever clash? Bernard lays a gnarled hand on the knight's shoulder. There are different battles to fight, Bertrand. Sometimes the greatest valor lies in laying down one's sword. They stand contemplating the river as a younger knight approaches, breathless and armor glinting. Bertrand, thank God I found you. The others and I have been searching everywhere. What troubles you, Geoffrey? We were challenged by men from Leon. They demand we surrender our horses or face battle. They say you are outnumbered and surely we will lose. Give me my horse, Geoffrey, Bertrand says calmly. I believe I know how to handle this. The knights exchange puzzled glances, but respect compels them to obey. Soon enough, Sir Bertrand stands before the Leonas, unarmed save for his checkered kerchief. Greetings, friends, he calls out. Come midday. I am weary of fighting. Care to share a pot of wine and some good food? Then we can talk like reasonable men. The Leonas hesitate, surprised by the knight's proposal. Is this some trick? One demands. You would weaken us with wine and bread before battle? I offer no tricks, Bertrand replies, raising his hands in mock surrender. Or would you deny yourself sustenance? Surely hunger and thirst would sadden St. James, whose banner you bear. The men exchange uneasy glances. Very well, one finally relents. We accept your truce until nightfall. If you win our approval, we keep your horses, but fail to match our valor, and both animals are ours. The knights return to the bank, faces grim. Why do you jeopardize our mission, Bertrand? Geoffrey asks angrily. If we lose, the others and I will be forced to flee on foot. Surely you know that. Have you not noticed, Geoffrey, how each man here is missing a shield? Bertrand replies quietly. I wager they mean us harm even in victory. So I proposed a contest of skill rather than endurance. If they prove valiant warriors, I will gladly yield the horses. But if they tire, as knights should, before nightfall, we shall see their true colors. And so the sun climbs higher as two groups test lance against lance. Now and then the knights pause to wipe sweat from their visors, but otherwise show no quarter. As the hours lengthen, cheers rise from the bank as attackers miss their marks again and again. Finally, one of the Leonas throws down his gauntlet, collapsing onto his saddle. Enough, bellows his captain. These knights of Orvieto ride no farther with these beasts. Take them and let the others pass. We ride for Santiago tonight. With the horses returned, Bertrand doffs his helmet, revealing a face streaked with grime and sweat, yet smiling nonetheless. Sometimes, he says, extending a hand to his knights, the greatest victories require laying down one's sword. After greeting pilgrims from Aquitaine and Burgundy, you continue toward Astorga, where Bishop Diego, a recent appointee of Pope John the 22nd, is overseeing a major restoration of the city's grand cathedral. One evening you spot a pair of churchmen approaching from the south. Their habits are new and fine wool, their croziers tipped with ivory. The senior cleric wears the insignia of an abbot. while the other is adorned with the emblem of Santiago de Compostela. "Greetings, travelers," hails the abbot. "To what distant land do you journey?" "From Paris in the service of our Lord," replies the prior. "And you?" "We are bound for Santiago de Compostela. Would you care to join us for the last leg of the journey? We have need of learned counsel on matters regarding the shrine." "We would be honored to accompany you," says the prior, "but I must hasten to Aquitaine. My abbot is needed for an urgent matter there." The abbot nods understandingly. "Then allow me to host you at my abbey of San Pedro de Cardiga. It lies just 3 leagues hence, and will shelter you for the night." "That is most generous, Father Abbot, but we are pilgrims of St. James," says the prior. "Our place is with fellow travelers on the road." The abbot leans closer. "Would you deny yourself supper in a warm hall, fresh bread from our ovens, wine from our cellars?" "We are sworn to simplicity," the prior replies. "And besides, we wish to reach Santiago by All Saints' Day. There we intend to petition the Holy See to name our cathedral a shrine of our Lord Jesus Christ." "A lofty goal," says the abbot, a hint of challenge in his voice. "But pray tell, what boon have you to offer in return?" The prior hesitates, realizing the jig is up. "We have naught but our humble service, Father." The abbot smiles. "Then by God's grace you shall have it. Turn about and walk with me toward my abbey." So you enter San Pedro de Cardiga. At its heart, a vast refectory resounds with the voices of chanting monks. Opposite, a high table gleams with candlelight and a feast fit for royalty. Having donned fresh tunics and belts, you wash your hands while a serving girl polishes a goblet to crystal perfection. She pours in a deep red wine that smells faintly of spice. As the meal begins, you are seated at the high table beside the abbot. On either side, the prior sits opposite a robed bishop. Before you, a trencher of bread, plates of roasted fowl and honeyed fruit, platters piled with cheese and cured ham. Wine is brought in flagons, passed from hand to hand. You eat and drink to the accompaniment of soft candlelight, the tinkling of goblets, and hushed conversation about scripture, philosophy, and the best way to support the abbey's building projects. Only when the feast is over do you realize how subtly distanced you are from the rough road and rustic inns of the past weeks. Still, the memory of that walk lingers, carrying you toward Santiago and whatever awaits there. And now we pause at the threshold of the great shrine. Before entering, look back at the road you have traveled. Some stretches were smooth and pleasant, others difficult. Some nights you slept soundly, others not so much. The rhythm of the journey was steady, sometimes slower, sometimes faster, but always forward. So too is life. Each step is a gift, whether easy or hard. Each moment lived, whether peaceful or troubled, brings you closer to where you are meant to be. For the Christian pilgrim, that destination is Jerusalem, Rome, or Santiago de Compostela. For you, it may be a different city or perhaps a return home. Wherever it is, know that every mile marker, every rest stop, every step taken brings you closer to grace. Like the medieval pilgrim nearing completion of his journey, you have almost reached the end of this episode. Until next time, may your steps be light and sure-footed, your companions kind, and your rest peaceful. The plains around the Leon are among the smoothest in all of Spain, where centuries of traffic have packed the soil to a fine dust. It's good walking, but history shows little sign of urgency, and we are happy for that. On the horizon, the twin spires of the Cathedral of Santa Maria rise above the town like welcoming arms. Between us and the city stands the wide expanse of the Punt de Órbigo, made up of 12 mellow stone arches. Its surface is smooth and worn where generations of pilgrims have walked before us. Over the centuries, the flow of traffic has smoothed not only the road, but the character of those who travel it. Time and again, the ancient Camino has tempered the hot tempers of young bravos and honed the hearts of would-be saints. We hurry forward to see what wonders await us there. We arrive at noon when the sun climbs high over the orchard thickets lining the valley. Already, the heat softens our steps, and while some press on ahead, others linger by the fountain beside the bridge. Soon, the slackening pace of our fellowship attracts the attention of several pilgrims from the north, their faces weathered from weeks on the trail. "Good news," says a woman from Galicia, her staff planted firmly in the ground. "No fools fighting today. Heard tell it happened every 3 days for over a fortnight, just before sundown." "What?" asks a burly man from France, his Breton accent thick, a trial by combat. Two hotshots wanting to settle old scores, but always just before dark. By rights, they should be at it right now. Well, that's our luck then," mutters a Galician man, taking a long pull from his wineskin. Then, just as if summoned by his words, a squire hurries across the bridge, nearly tripping on the threshold. Sir Berengar, come quickly." He disappears into the archway, reappearing moments later, breathless, with a younger knight at his heels. "You said there would be no delay," gasps the newcomer and turns toward the east bank. But the squire shakes his head vigorously, spreading his arms wide. "The fight has been stayed. By order of the hospital, you need not return." And indeed, when we cross the bridge, we find not 2 angry knights, but a group of squires playing a crude game of jacks, their shouts echoing beneath the arches. On the far side, a solitary monk tends to a patch of herbs growing near the wall. He looks up at our approach and nods gravely. For several minutes we remain silent, watching the young men at play. Then a tall man with a kindly face steps out from under a nearby arcade. "Welcome to the Hospital de Órbigo. May God grant you peace," says the prior. "Are the knights not fighting today?" asked the French pilgrim. "Not today," replies the prior. "But come with me. You shall see with your own eyes." He leads us through a maze of gardens, courtyards, fountains, and arcades to a modest chapel. Inside, 2 men kneel before the altar, their visors resting on the flagstones before them. Both wear the livery of knights errant, but neither heeds the glint of sunlight on polished steel. One man is busied with a fervent prayer. The other sucks his teeth and shifts from foot to foot, his gaze fixed on the rough-hewn wood beneath him. Brother Martin approaches. I am sure you want to speak with these two? The Frenchman nods eagerly. Very well, but I ask you keep the matter secret, lest word reach the ears of the proud or envious. He raps lightly on the nearest shoulder. Sir Berenger, Sir Ramiro, I believe our guests would have a few questions. Slowly the knights rise. With a start, both seem embarrassed, suddenly unsure of themselves. Who would ask such a thing? Says Berenger, pushing back his helm. A strip of linen is tied about his brow, and the rest of his face is flushed and sweaty. They wish to know why there is no clash of steel upon your blades, says the prior gently. Ramiro runs a hand through his tangled beard. Why? Because we are weary of battle. For 3 days we have fought until our arms grew heavy, and the next day we came again to do battle, and the next day, and the next day. This is the 4th. And why have you done this? Asks the pilgrim. Ramirez shrugged. For my honor, for my Lord's honor, for the love of God and the Holy Father. Honor is a fickle mistress, says the prior, shaking his head. To serve her, you would abandon her in the blink of an eye. Tell me, friend, what does honor gain by your daily duels? She gains glory, snaps Ramirez. The prior lowers his eyes. Glory gained by hurting another. How long will it last? There's a long silence, and Ramirez hangs his head. This much is certain, says Baron softly. God loves no strife. Indeed, murmurs the prior. Go now, and let weariness be your mediator and mercy be your victory. God counts defeat of anger among his greatest miracles. With a deep breath, the knights doff their helmets, revealing 2 men, haggard and humbled, their uniforms soiled, their faces streaked with dirt and sweat. I say it again, says Ramirez, for my honor. For my Lord's honor, for the love of God and the Holy Father. The prior smiles sadly. Is that so? Then I pray you, show forth your devotion, and break your lances in prayer, not battle. For I have seen more humility in a stable full of colts. Berenger opens his mouth as if to protest, but Ramirez lays a hand on his arm. You are right, Brother Martin. Forgive us our trespasses. The prior inclines his head. As I said, God counts the defeat of anger among his greatest miracles. It is done. Then Ramirez sheathes his sword. That evening, by lantern glow in the scriptorium, Brother Martin dips his quill in black ink and writes a single line in the hospital's chronicle. On the vigil of St. Benedict, 2 swords grew heavy, and discord laid itself down. In the refectory, over bowls of stew, rumors fly about the strange happenings on the bridge that day. The 2 former knights eat at a corner table, speaking in low voices, while their conversation is carried away by the dry rustle of rushes underfoot. It's clear that whatever words are exchanged, they are borne away by the dry rustle of rushes underfoot. It's clear that whatever words are exchanged, they are carried away by the dry rustle of rushes underfoot. It's clear that whatever words are exchanged, they are carried away by the dry rustle of rushes underfoot. It's clear that whatever words are exchanged, they are carried away by the dry rustle of rushes underfoot. It's clear that whatever words are exchanged, they are carried away by the dry rustle of rushes underfoot. It's clear that whatever words are exchanged, they are carried away by the dry rustle of rushes underfoot. It's clear that whatever words are exchanged, they are carried away by the dry rustle of rushes underfoot. It's clear that whatever words are exchanged, they are carried away by the dry rustle of rushes underfoot. It's clear that whatever words are exchanged, they are carried away by the dry rustle of rushes underfoot. It's clear that whatever words are exchanged, they are carried away by the dry rustle of rushes underfoot. It's clear that whatever words are exchanged, they are carried away by the dry rustle of rushes underfoot. It's clear that whatever words are exchanged, they are carried away by the dry rustle of rushes underfoot. It's clear that whatever words are exchanged, they are carried away by the dry rustle of rushes underfoot. It's clear that whatever words are exchanged, they are carried away by the dry rustle of rushes underfoot. It's clear that whatever words are exchanged, they are carried away by the dry rustle of rushes underfoot. It's clear that whatever words are exchanged, they are carried away by the dry rustle of rushes underfoot. It's clear that whatever words are exchanged, they are carried away by the dry rustle of rushes underfoot. It's clear that whatever words are exchanged, they are carried away by the dry rustle of rushes underfoot. It's clear that whatever words are exchanged, they are carried away by the dry rustle of rushes underfoot. It's clear that whatever words are exchanged, they are carried away by the dry rustle of rushes underfoot. It's clear that whatever words are exchanged, they are carried away by the dry rustle of rushes underfoot. It's clear that whatever words are exchanged, they are carried away by the dry rustle of rushes underfoot. It's clear that whatever words are exchanged, they are carried away by the dry rustle of rushes underfoot. It's clear that whatever words are exchanged, they are carried away by the dry rustle of rushes underfoot. It's clear that whatever words are exchanged, they are carried away by the dry rustle of rushes underfoot. It's clear that whatever words are exchanged, they are carried away by the dry rustle of rushes underfoot. It's clear that whatever words are exchanged, they are carried away by the dry rustle of rushes underfoot. It's clear that whatever words are exchanged, they are carried away by the dry rustle of rushes underfoot. It's clear that whatever words are exchanged, they are carried away by the dry rustle of rushes underfoot. It's clear that whatever words are exchanged, they are carried away by the dry rustle of rushes underfoot. It's clear that whatever words are exchanged, they are carried away by the dry rustle of rushes underfoot. It's clear that whatever words are exchanged, they are carried away by the dry rustle of rushes underfoot. It's clear that whatever words are exchanged, they are carried away by the dry rustle of rushes. Every word spoken seems to vanish, swept away by the soft rustle of the rushes beneath our feet. It's like the whispers of the moment get lost in the gentle sounds of nature. You can almost feel the connection between the words and the world around us, right? It's a reminder that sometimes the simplest things can carry the most meaning, even if they're just rustling in the breeze. Isn't it interesting how nature has this way of absorbing our words? Each whisper and laugh, each moment shared, gets taken up by the earth around us. It's almost poetic, right? It makes you think about how fleeting our conversations can be. Every word spoken seems to vanish, swept away by the soft rustle of the rushes beneath our feet. It's like the whispers of the moment get lost in the gentle sounds of nature. You can almost feel the connection between the words and the world around us, right? It's a reminder that sometimes the simplest things can carry the most meaning, even if they're just rustling in the breeze. Isn't it interesting how nature has this way of absorbing our words? Each whisper and laugh, each moment shared gets taken up by the earth around us. It's almost poetic, right? It makes you think about how fleeting our conversations can be. But hey, maybe that's what makes them special. Those words, while they may vanish, leave behind a feeling, a memory. They dance in the air for a moment, then blend into the world around us. So next time you're walking through the rushes, take a moment to listen. Feel how your words mingle with the sounds of nature. It's a beautiful reminder of the connection we share with the world, even if those words drift away. I'm sorry to disappoint my American audience, but here in France, when we talk about Columbus, we don't mean that guy. We mean this guy. Christopher Columbus was one of the most famous, infamous explorers in history, credited with opening the Americas to European colonization, initiating an exchange of plants, animals, humans, and ideas between continents. But he also ushered in an era of slavery and genocide. His life and work remain controversial. In Spain and Italy, both countries claim him. Both countries name airports after him. In Latin, his name is spelled Curioscolmbos, which means curious. Well, that seems fitting. Let's be curious together. Welcome to Short Form. Today we're going to explore the story of Christopher Columbus and the discovery of the Americas. Everything you know and some things you might not. If you like stories like this, don't forget to stay updated. In the late 15th century, Europe was ready for a new adventure. For centuries, trade with Asia had been exclusively in the hands of Italian and Arab merchants who controlled the land and sea routes to China, India, and Japan. Precious goods like spices and silk reached exorbitant prices, making common folks' lives costly and kings covetous. Explorers like Vasco da Gama and Amerigo Vespucci had recently found alternate routes to Asia, but the passage around Africa was long and dangerous. So Europeans still dreamed of reaching the east by sailing west. Enter Christopher Columbus, born in Genoa in 1451. His exact birth date is unknown. His father was a wool merchant and local official who instilled in his son a love of geography and world cultures. By age 14, Columbus was working at sea, sailing with his father to England and the Portuguese coast. He learned navigation, cartography, and oceanic winds. On a trip to the Portuguese capital of Lisbon, he met Prince Henry the Navigator, the famous explorer, and cartographer who sponsored expeditions to explore and conquer North Africa and the Atlantic islands. Young and impressionable, Columbus became fascinated with maps. He studied the works of Ptolemy, an ancient Greek astronomer and geographer who calculated the circumference of the earth. From them, Columbus developed his idea of a western route to Asia, despite the fact that the world was round. Sailors were used to following the curves of the coast or sticking close to well-charted waterways. No one had sailed straight west across the Atlantic Ocean. They didn't even know what they would find if they did. After a few voyages of his own, funded by Portuguese nobles, Columbus was convinced he could reach Asia by sailing over the Atlantic. His path, he thought, would take him to India, China, and Japan, as well as to the rumored but never-seen land of gold called Mogadishu. However, he was greatly mistaken. With winds and currents, it would actually take him to the Americas. When he first set sail in 1492, he believed he was in India, so he named the natives Indians. Columbus lacked the scientific instruments needed to plot his course accurately. Without a reliable compass or speedometer, he relied primarily on dead reckoning, which involved estimating speed and direction and guessing how far they had traveled. Plus, his map of the world was outdated and inaccurate, so his plan of attack was to sail due west until he hit land. On October 12, 1492, after 70 long days at sea, Columbus and his crew finally spotted Land 1 of the Bahamas. They touched down on San Salvador and kicked things off with a mass. For the next 3 days, Columbus explored the island, hunting for gold and other treasures, but came up empty-handed. He noted that the locals seemed a bit shy, but were friendly and welcoming, even taking his crew to their homes. But Columbus wasn't about to give up. He pressed on with his quest for India, sailing up the coast of Cuba and hitting Jamaica and the Cayman Islands. Can you believe he was just 60 miles from Florida? All this time, he thought he was in Asia. Finally, on December, exhausted and without provisions, he anchored in a cove on the island of Guana, now part of the Dominican Republic. Here he built a small fort and left a cross on top of it as a Spanish flag. He stayed for several weeks recuperating and negotiating peacefully with the natives who gave them food and showed them how to make pottery. Then he headed back to Spain on March 4, 1493, landing near the Canary Islands and finally reaching Lisbon on March. He had completed the first voyage of discovery across the Atlantic, an achievement he would never live to see properly recognized. Many accounts of Columbus's encounters with the indigenous peoples of the Americas paint a distorted picture of those encounters. Columbus himself described many of these encounters in his journal, such as his first meeting with the natives on the island of San Salvador, writing that they were a little shy and timid, but friendly and peaceful. But the reality was much different. The Spanish had brought with them diseases like smallpox, to which the natives had no immunity. And Columbus landed in a place recently hit by a hurricane, where many locals had died. Historian David Fisher points out that Columbus often twisted events to make himself and the Spaniards look good, even if it contradicted what he saw. For instance, he described the natives as peaceful, but he conveniently left out that he had armed men who could have easily harmed them if they didn't cooperate. The locals might have been cautious, too, having heard stories about the Spanish from other explorers. Despite this, Columbus claimed the natives generously provided food and supplies, painting a picture of goodwill. But let's be real, he wasn't always so nice. In the Dominican Republic, he called the natives warlike and admitted to using force to keep them in check. This shows how Columbus controlled the narrative, shaping how people remember his encounters with the natives. It's a classic case of rewriting history to fit his agenda. Columbus made 3 more trips across the Atlantic. He explored the Caribbean and the Central American coast, but he never found gold or direct access to the Pacific. He spent his remaining days trying to convince the Spanish monarchs of his accomplishments and seeking further funding. He died on May 20th, 1506, believing he had proven the earth was smaller than everyone thought, and that his journeys had taken him to India. In reality, he had discovered the Americas, and historians continue to debate whether he deserves the credit. For as long as you've been walking, the road has been a relentless mistress, demanding step for step, blister for blister, sunrise for sunset. But tonight the path pauses, yielding you up to the unexpected bounty of an abbot's guest hall supper. What secrets of calm does this monastic haven hold? Join us as we turn the page on yet another episode of The Way of the Pilgrim, where history serves up more than just food, but a chance to savor life's quietest luxuries. Weeks flow past like quiet streams, and at last the Galician hills gather closely, their slopes quilted in chestnut groves and damp fern. One gray morning you crest a rise and behold the monastery of Samos, walls of silver granite, roofs dark as river slate, the whole complex cupped in green valleys and echoing with a single resonant bell. Pilgrims pause, draw slower breaths. The road's dust settles on cloaks already threadbare, yet hope glimmers tonight's shelter will be different. Crossing the threshold, a stout porter greets each traveler at the massive wooden gate with a bow measured and mild. He speaks little. Instead, he gestures toward the guest hall where carved lintels display vines, doves, and tiny scallop shell symbols, acknowledging the endless tide of weary visitors. Inside, stone floors lie polished by generations of sandals, and the air carries the blended scent of beeswax, rosemary smoke, and parchment kept in cool archives. A monk in dove-gray habit leads you down a corridor lit by small glass windows. Sunlight filters through the wavering panes, painting the flagged floor in shifting amber. Your footsteps, once muffled by soil, now click softly, an unfamiliar, almost courtly sound. The supper setting. The abbot's guest hall surprises in its simplicity. No gilded goblets, no roaring fire, only a long oaken table, its surface rubbed to satin sheen, and benches soft with woven rush mats. Candles stand tall in iron rings, their flames steadier than those in roadside taverns. The room's hush carries a faint resonance of sung psalms, though no voice is raised now. You notice the contrast immediately. Rough wool cloaks meet linen table linens. Earth-stained hands receive clay cups clean as new pottery. The constant ache of travel meets a stillness that feels almost buoyant. Yet nothing is ostentatious. Everything whispers moderation. Blessing and first course, the abbot, a man of advanced years and surprisingly gentle eyes, enters without ceremony. He raises a slender hand. Conversation dissolves into a soothed silence. May this humble board grant strength for the miles behind and the miles ahead. He intones, voice pitched low, each word unhurried. Before anyone stirs, bowls of perturbed soup arrive, spinach, sorrel, and leeks simmered until their textures blur into velvet. Steam curls upward, fragrant but mild. A ladle's quiet splash becomes the loudest sound in the hall. You raise the spoon. Warmth spreads from tongue to stomach, loosening muscles long clenched against rain and stone. Bread, trenchers, and river trout. Next, servants' young oblates with shy smiles set down loaves of barley bread hollowed in their centers. These trenchers receive spoonfuls of river trout stewed with parsley and a whisper of pepper. Fish scales, once silver, have melted into the broth, lending a faint sheen that catches candlelight. You tear off the trencher's crusty edge. It yields with a soft crackle, releasing the scent of wood-fired ovens. The mildness of the seasoning contrasts sharply with the onion broths and salted pork bits of weeks past. Flavor here is gentler layered. First the earthiness of barley, then the sweet river fish, then the herbal lift of parsley. Each bite invites another slow breath. Mild wine and measured conversation, clay jugs of diluted red wine are passed hand to hand. Its taste carries notes of carrot and damp oak barrels, delicate, nothing to rouse the pulse. As cups are refilled, the abbot engages travelers in soft inquiry. From where do you hail? He asks, and when the Breton mason replies, the abbot nods, offering a memory of distant Finisterre coasts. How fare the roads east of Lyon? He inquires of the Alsatian widow, attentive to her account of washed-out bridges. The conversation never rises. It flows like evening tide, lapping monastery walls. Each pilgrim's tale finds gentle reception, then ebbs into shared silence. A silence not empty, but restorative. Candied quince in closing hymn. For dessert, thin slices of candied quince arrive on pewter plates, their amber translucence glowing. They are sweet without sharpness, sticky without burden, dissolving on the tongue like slow morning mist. As the final plates are cleared, a brother in the corner lifts a small psaltery and plucks a four-note refrain soft, repetitive, almost hypnotic. Voices join in a simple Compline hymn, words indistinct yet soothing. In pace and idipsum dormium et requiescam. In peace and the same I will sleep and I will rest. Night in the pilgrim dormitory. Beds tonight are wooden cots, fitted with straw mattresses, newly stuffed, their scent grassy and faintly sweet. A single wool blanket, cleaned with lye soap, warms shoulders, still tender from pack straps. Down the corridor, a fountain trickles quietly into a stone basin. Its rhythm blends with your breath. Before extinguishing the bedside taper, you recall the day's contrasts, rain and roof, pottage and trout, straw pallets and raised cots. Yet the Camino's hum remains unchanged beneath every surface. Step, breathe, step, breathe. Outside, the monastery bell tolls one last note, then stills. Darkness folds around timber beams, inviting dreams to wander cloisters where footfalls echo softly. Calming conclusion. The western star and the comfort of now. As the last embers of twilight fade and the Milky Way spills across the darkening sky, you find yourself lulled by the steady drip of a nearby fountain. The air, thick with the scent of rosemary and damp stone, carries the murmur of crickets and the faint drone of vespers from the nearby chapel. An overwhelming tranquility seems to emanate from the very stones, enveloping you in a bubble of timeless peace. It is a far cry from the bustling albergs and the camaraderie of fellow pilgrims, yet here in the peaceful embrace of the monastery, you feel a different kind of solace, a sanctuary from the journey as well as from the outside world. It's a luxury to sit in stillness, to let the rhythm of the present moment wash over you like a cleansing wave, to be free from the demands of the road, even for just this one precious night, is a balm to your weary soul. Now, my friends, it's time to close this episode of The Way of the Pilgrim. We hope you've enjoyed this glimpse into the lives of those who walked the ancient paths before us. If you'd like to continue exploring the stories and history of the Camino de Santiago, we invite you to visit our website. There you'll find additional resources, including maps, guides, and more tales from the road. And if you're moved by our reenactments, please consider supporting us. Your generosity helps us bring these stories to life for even more listeners around the world. Thank you for joining us today, and until next time, may your own journey be filled with the magic of history and the joy of discovery. In the heart of Galicia, amidst ancient oaks heavy with moss and ferns, lies the monastery of Samos, an anchor of tranquility on the wild Atlantic coast. Founded in the 9th century, its weathered granite walls have echoed with the prayers of countless monks. For over a millennium, the rhythmic clang of hammer on metal has given way to the murmur of the faithful and the rustle of parchment as scribes copied sacred texts. But it is the stories of pilgrims that infuse these hallowed halls with a timeless charm. For centuries, weary travelers seeking solace or drawn by the promise of a miracle have sought refuge within these sheltering walls. Some came seeking healing, others a respite from the hardships of the road. All left changed by the quiet dignity of this sacred space. Among them was a young girl named Teresa, whose tale is as captivating as it is haunting. Abandoned as an infant, she found her way to the monastery steps, where the kindly abbess took her in, recognizing the divine spark within the child's innocent eyes. Nurtured by the nuns, Teresa grew up to become St. Teresa of Jesus, one of the most influential figures in Christian history. Her legacy, a testament to the enduring power of faith and the transformative impact of a life dedicated to the divine. Then there was the artist Giotto, wandering far from his native Florence, captivated by rumors of a mystical light that bathed the monastery in otherworldly glow. What he saw inspired him to immortalize the scene on canvas, creating one of the earliest masterpieces of Renaissance art. His painting, now lost to time, left an indelible mark on those who saw it, forever linking the monastery with the birth of a new artistic era. These stories, whispered through the ages, weave a tapestry of humanity, reminding us that within these ancient stones, lives touched by faith, hope, and the pursuit of beauty. And as you stand within the cool shadows of the cloisters, you can almost hear their echoes lingering in the arches above. This has been a production by a historical reenactment group based in Spain. Our mission is to bring history to life by reenacting, recording, and sharing stories from the past in a way that is both entertaining and educational. We believe that history is more than just dates and battles. It's a tapestry of human experiences that can teach us about ourselves and the world around us. We would love for you to join us on this journey through time. If you enjoy what we do, please don't forget to subscribe to our channel, like and comment on our videos, and share them with your friends. You can also support us through various platforms. Your support helps us to continue creating these high-quality productions and to reach a wider audience. Thank you for watching and for coming together to keep the stories of the past alive. Until next time, remember to stay curious, keep exploring, and let the echoes of history guide you on your journey of discovery.